Welcome to the Working Man's Retriever. I'm your host and professional gun dog trainer, Dan Hosford.
And I'm Sanine Kenny, your co-host. And today's episode of Kobe's Corner, Dan will be teaching Kobe the blind retrieve cadence with his back pile work. In today's Canine Health segment, Lisa Schaefer from Paw Print Genetics will show us how to obtain DNA from Kobe from a simple cheek swab. In Training Grounds, we're going to show you how to fix a common problem called popping. So sit back and relax, and let's build teams for the field. Take them!
The Working Man's Retriever is brought to you by Dave Smith Motors, the world's largest Dodge and Chrysler dealer. Eddie Bauer Sports Shop, 90 years in the making. Hempler's, authentic European smoked meats, family owned since 1934. Paw Print Genetics, the definitive resource for canine genetic. Truck Vault, secure vehicle storage solutions. Working Man's Retriever, building teams for the field. NARA, conservation through the development of trained retrievers. Welcome to Kobe's Corner. Say guys, in today's episode we're in phase 2 of the bumper row and back pile sequence. Today's really important, and I need you to pay very close attention because we're going to talk about the blind cadence. Now a cadence in this case is going to be 3 specific words that we use to get the dog to lock on and wait until the command to go is given for him to go make his retrieve out of this pile. So that cadence is going to be dead, good, and back. So the verbal command dead means you're to search the field for me. When I say good, at the time his head is crossed over where the pile is, then he knows he can lock onto that. And the back command is what sends him out to pick up one of the objects that are in this pile. Okay? Now in the second part of this particular phase, I'm going to begin to back him up. Every time he goes into the pile and makes a successful retrieve, I'm going to back up a step. So the next time I send him back into the pile with that cadence, he's got to travel a little bit further. All right? So what do you say we get started and find out how this is going to turn out with Kobe? That's my man, huh? All right, here. All right, sit. Sit, that's my boy. Dead. Now this is common for him to look up because he doesn't understand what the command means yet. Dead. Good. Back. Back. Here. Fetch. Yes, that's my man. Look at that. Good. All right. Now that was awesome. And although it looked like he kind of made a mess of things because he darted around the pile, it's because he doesn't understand yet what the command means. So this is very normal. Thus having the leash on him right now is pretty darn important. So we're going to try this again now. Ready? Dead. Dead. Even though he's not looking, I'm going to go ahead and say good anyway. Dead. Good. Back. Yes, that's my man. Good. Very good. Now, remember the object here is that when I say dead, he's to look around. And when I say good, he's to lock onto the pile. We're not seeing that yet because it's going to take several days for this to come about so he understands how the cadence works. All right. Dead. And him looking up at me is very normal. You're going to have the same thing when you're doing this. Dead. Good. Back. Yes, that's my man. There you go. Now you see too that we've quit using the fetch command. That's because it's not necessary anymore. Back and fetch mean the same thing. Now if he were to come out of the pile and I had to apply stimulation to him to get him back in, I would use the fetch command then. Dead. 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 Back. Yes, that's my guy. Look at you. Sit. Good job. Now every time again that he comes out of that pile with a successful retrieve, I'm stepping back. Now the steps aren't real big, but I'm moving back so he has to travel further. Heel. Sit. There's my chance to practice the rotation drill we talked about earlier where we line him up. Dead. Good. Back. Fetch. There. Fetch. Good. Heel. Now there he came off of that bumper. I said fetch the first time because it was an automatic thing. I saw that he had bumped it with his nose and I knew he was going to come back off. So I said fetch and applied the electrical stimulation that made him complete that retrieve. All right, so let's go through this again. Now, what I did, because of that, I'm going to step forward one more step, and I'm going to rebuild this backup thing all together. So every time he makes an error, I come back up to the start and I begin to build it back. So this, it helps him build his self-confidence. Here, sit, good, dead, back, yeah, there's my man, and I come back a step, very nice, good job. Give him lots and lots of praise for that effort. Drop, good. All right, dead, dead, good. Back. Yeah, there you go. Look at you. Wow, what a guy. Ha ha. Good man. Sit. All right. Fetch. There you go. Sit. All right, so now I'm going to quit this lesson right now for Kobe because this is a great introduction for him. And I don't want, we've already been out doing a lot of work this morning and I don't want to tire him out any more than what I have. So the point is that I want you to practice this same sequence for this coming week. When we come back to the next Kobe's Corner, we're going to keep working on this and extend it back a little bit further yet. All right? So continue to practice this drill using that cadence and always again in second level volume. Dead, good, back. And what we're trying to get at is for him to look into that pile and not go until you send him. If he tries to break and leave ahead of you, snap him back, bring him to the heel position, and begin the cadence again. All right? So, for more information on this, don't hesitate to go to our website, wmretriever.com, and you're going to find in our store a set of DVDs that explain this very, very thoroughly. All right? So with that, we're going to see you at the next Kobe's Corner. That's my dad, huh? Come on, buddy. Welcome back, folks. We're here for another one of the canine health episodes. In fact, this is a pretty important one because we're actually going to be talking about how to get the swabbing done correctly on your pup so that you can send it into Paw Prints and have them do the genetic testing for you. All right? So with that, I'm going to have Lisa start and explain to us how we need to go about this. All right, Lisa?
So, Dan, did you wash your hands?
You know, I did, too. You're kind of
Oh,
lucky, but I did.
Okay.
You want me to go do it again?
No, it's fine.
All
it's
right,
really
perfect.
important between dogs. We've handled other dogs today, and it's very important that between dogs you wash your hands so that we know that the DNA that ends up on one of these swabs is the right DNA
So even,
from just
even
this
me
dog.
rubbing him like this, we can get what you call contamination, right?
Correct, because every cell of our
Wow.
body has DNA in it. So even the hair cells can contain DNA that could contaminate a swab.
Really? Well, that's important, guys. That's pretty important. Amazing.
So if I get Sanine, if you could hold the bag, and all you simply do is break the seal and hand me the swab. What we want to do is swab the inside of the cheek, so the outer side of the cheek from the inside. And if you happen to drop the swab on the floor, you need to throw it away because the floor is dirty. It has other DNA. It has human DNA, maybe DNA from other dogs. So you need to throw it away and get another swab.
All right.
So we give you 3 swabs, and we need a minimum of 2 in order to do our DNA testing.
But we should do all 3 and send them to you.
Yes, it's
All
best
right.
to do all 3 so we have plenty of DNA, so we
Okay.
won't run out of DNA, and we can do our tests. Okay, so if you could please hold Kobe.
Okay.
What I'm gonna
like
do-
pretty tight or just,
Just so he doesn't move, because
okay.
this doesn't hurt the dog, but
Oh,
they're
hey,
curious.
sit.
And they don't really understand why we're doing this.
Sit.
So he's going to want to wiggle a little bit, and I need to roll the swab back and forth on the inside of the cheek for about 30 seconds. Now, when was the last time Kobe ate something?
Would have been last night.
Okay, good, because you want to make sure that your dog hasn't eaten for 2 hours. Okay? Because again, we want the DNA on the swab to be that of the dog, not the dog food.
Oh, really?
Okay.
We're learning a lot today, guys.
So here we go. You ready, Kobe? Okay, this is not bad. You're going to like it. Okay, so about 30 seconds back and forth on the inside.
So does this swab maybe taste like chicken?
No. Tastes like
Darn.
cotton.
With
And
your
then when
fingers,
it comes out,
you rub it back and
it should
forth.
look a little dirty, but not red. You want to make sure there should not be no blood.
No blood.
And then you're
So-
done with this one.
So it's all done.
It's all done. Put it back in its original container because it's a sterile container, and then you'll ship it back to the lab in this. So
All right.
Kobe's mouth is a little dry, which makes it, it feels sticky and it seems a little harder to get cells. So if you're swabbing a dog and their mouth seems very dry, you can let them get a drink of water and,
Okay.
and then swab again. So are you ready to try to swab, Dan?
I am.
Okay,
I
and
think it'd be
let's
kind of
go.
fun.
Sanine can hold Kobe's head,
All right.
and I'll hand you the swabs.
All right, so now, let's just hold the lip up here, the upper lip. a little bit like this, and lay the
Uh-huh.
swab against it,
Yes.
like that.
And then just roll it back and forth.
Roll it back. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're getting all the surface of the swab covered with cells. So usually what we found is the dog does really well on the first swab, and then the second swab they've kind of figured out that they can wiggle a little bit.
Yeah.
So you really need help. So it's really
Okay, so-
helpful.
So you don't leave that out in the air. As soon as you get done, you want to get back in the
Put
container.
it in the container. So
All
right.
Sanine,
Procedure.
are
wanna
you
try
ready
it?
to try?
Yeah, I'm ready to
Okay,
try.
let me hold him then.
Okay.
This is not what I was expecting at all. I figured this would be
No, this
something
is
they
very
absolutely would not
This-
want to do, but it's pretty simple if you do it right.
Good
And then just
man.
twirl it a little bit.
Good man. Yeah, boy. That's my man.
So
you
now,
can see why it helps to have help holding the
Exactly.
dog.
you
It's a
couldn't do this by
two-person.
yourself.
It's
It
a
would just,
two-person.
guys, it'd be tough. You really need to have somebody help you hold your dog still.
Wow, pretty good.
Good boy.
Okay.
Now, if they get a little fussy, is it okay if you get saliva from the tongue, or is it you have to keep it on that cheek side?
We prefer that you gather cheek cells.
Okay.
We sometimes get variable results from people who send in their samples, and so the best way to get optimal results is to have someone hold your dog, to go on the inside of the cheek cell, and to twirl it and get the full surface of the swab covered.
So now, then we turn around and we put it back in the bag. I'm assuming it's a bag kind of like this?
Yes, the bag will look just like this, and
Okay.
you put it back in the kit that we provide you, and you mail it back to us, and the
Okay.
postage is paid.
So there's like, once it's collected and it's on the stick and in the bag, then it should come back to you as soon as possible, correct?
Yes, we prefer to receive it as soon as possible so we can start our testing.
All right, folks, again, we've got some absolutely fantastic information here, and I've got to thank Lisa for coming out to show us all of these very, very important parts. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact Lisa and her team at pawprintsgenetics.com.
Welcome to today's episode of Training Grounds, where I'm here to talk with Dan about a scenario where I sent Mally out on a retrieve, and she got out there and she just quit working on me. Just stopped and turned back and looked.
Like she was trying to find some help.
Exactly.
Awesome.
She just stopped.
I can't tell you how common this is. When we get into the training a little bit, it doesn't take the dogs very long to all of a sudden start relying upon you for all of their help.
Okay.
Very, very standard stuff. The segment that you're talking about, the piece that you're talking about where the dog stops and turns around and looks at you, is called popping. And that's exactly what they're doing, is trying to get help from you.
Okay.
So if this becomes a habit and they realize that if they turn around and look at you and then you start casting them and helping them out, that becomes their safe zone.
Their
So
fallback.
rather than have to give you effort or have to charge out and complete giving you all of the perseverance they need to complete something, they'll say, oh gee, would you help me?
Okay.
And then if you do that, you create a bigger and bigger problem all the time. So I'm going to assume that when this first started, if you think back about when it first started, it's probably considerably worse now than what it was then,
It
would you
is.
say?
It's
Okay.
escalated, definitely.
Absolutely so. So the scenario is that we're going to have what we call a poison bird. Okay, now, and by bird, I mean it's going to be a dead fowl trainer is what it's going to be. We're going to throw this dead fowl trainer out into the water where she can see it, but at the same time we're going to tell her she has to run a blind retrieve at a different angle away from that dead fowl trainer. So as she gets out there and she gets to thinking, oh man, I'd rather go to get this retrieve, I want to go get the retrieve, you're going to say, no dear, I want you to go over here instead. That decision-making factor is going to make her start stopping on you and looking back for help to confirm to her that your cast is exactly what you want her to do.
Okay.
That's when we're going to help her understand the importance of wanting to continue to go.
Okay.
Okay? All right. So with that, what do you say we go to work?
Let's go to work.
Hey, 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 hey!
Should I send her just to get the momentum?
What is I can't quite see what she's
She's
up
locking onto that doken. So just instead of
to.
fussing with her?
Let's don't mess with her at
Okay.
all. Let's just go ahead and send her, because she's not going to pull off of it.
No.
We'll teach her
Okay.
that when she takes the line, this isn't what I want. So what we'll do, as soon as you send her, and she gets out there probably a quarter of the way, whistle sit her, nick, and then begin an overcast to get her pulled back out here on the line you want for your blind, and then work your backs from that point forward.
Okay.
All right?
Dead. Good. Back.
There you go. Nick. And then your leftover cast to get the one you want. Now slow that cast just a little bit. You're going pretty fast. Remember, she doesn't have her feet on the ground. And cast. There you go. Now it's when you can use that nick again, because she keeps falling over there. We got to tell her, no, that's not the line we want. So 2 seconds, nick, cast left over. Okay. Now again, because you're letting her scalp, we want her on the line. Nick and cast her over. You may have to do this nick several times before she finally understands what you're after. But we've got to tell her that's not the line we want, but the nick is important. There you go. Now you can start with a right hand back. But remember, the right hand back is going to spin her into the suction.
Yep.
See, now that would be expected. So let's try a left hand back right here, because you're close enough to be on the line. Give her some momentum, remember?
Yep.
There you go. Any time in there that you want. No nick. Shift left, left back. There you go, nice cast.
There.
Good for her because she's coming away from the suction, and it's so she dearly wants to be over there.
Oh, look at
Because
that.
we're building good momentum here. Left back. Spin her away from where that blind is. Sit. Bottom button nick, because she turned to the right and set it to the blind. We want to spin her away from it again. Left back. Do not stimulate that one. Try your left back again from here, knowing she's probably going to go the wrong way.
There.
Oh, make a liar out of me. Nice job. Let her carry. Now you can give her the right hand. Now, which way are you going to go?
The left.
Correct. Spin her away from the shore. You're short of the blind.
Oh, yeah.
Your depth perception isn't working yet.
Oh,
That's all right. Bring her in. That's pretty impressive, though, really. If you think about that, she's really done she's giving you a lot of effort. In a training sequence, I want her always to come back the same way that you send her out. In other words, don't let her come down the shore. She's going to want to do that after you've repeated this or several other marks 2 or 3 times. She's going to come down by the shore because it's faster to get here. I want you to be sure that you make her stay in the water, okay, when she comes back. Now remember too, this is only a training sequence. You wouldn't want to do that in hunting because your objective is to get the dog back as soon as what she can. Then it's okay to run down that bank. But in training, you're controlling her desire to want to run down that bank and having her come back into the water, so you're in full control of everything.
Okay.
And she doesn't want to have to come back into that water. To take a cast off of land into water is a very difficult thing for a dog to do, especially when as fast as what it is to come along that dike. Okay? Make sense?
Makes sense.
All right, awesome. So now you got to go pick up your mark, right?
I do.
Okay. Give me that, get that out of your way for you.
You. Mally.
So she's kind of pulling to the blind.
Yep.
This would be a very normal sequence. We're not going to do anything though unless she gets up there and starts to head down towards where the blind was planted. Then we would stop her and cast her back into the other side. But for now, we're just going to let her have that. Because she's got to remember where it was. We've just spent all this time out here in the water. You know, telling her you're going wrong, you're going wrong. So now she's got to get up there and remember where that fall was.
Exactly.
So there's an awful lot to this training drill. There's a lot of psychological things that you're responsible for because you're teaching her how to select.
Okay. And I think at one time, you know, the bird was probably, when she went out that way, that's where she remembered it, and it drifted a little bit.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
This is why those right and left hand back casts, why we've done all of our baseball,
Yes.
is to help her understand that just because she thinks that's where it is, we can change that route anytime we want to.
Exactly.
Okay? Awesome.
Good. Heel. Sit.
This would be an awful lot easier if she healed on the other side, you know, and got rid of that pink collar.
Sit. Good. That's a girl.
So what we need to do, folks, in this kind of a sequence is we need to run this 3 times. Just like I'm going to be talking about this an awful lot. Anytime we're doing training concepts, we're going to do everything in sets of 3, okay? Because that way your dog is beginning to understand a concept, and you as the handler get more comfortable dealing with the dog in that concept. All
And
right?
then these next 2, we just treat them as now memory blinds.
Absolutely, it's going to be the same concept because we're going to have the same kind of suction, but it's going to take less of your adjustment to get the dog to remember what line you actually want her on so that she becomes more successful each time that we run it. We won't run it any more than 3 times.
Okay.
After that, it's time to put her up so that we can go back and do something else with one of the other dogs or whatever it is that we're going to do. So, what do you say? I'll grab the duck, we're going to go back out here, I'll set that blind back up, and I'll throw that as a mark.
Sounds good.
All right?
Let's go.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us on the Working Man's Retriever today. See, if you guys are looking for any more training information or even training tools, be sure to visit the WMRetriever.com website.
Be sure to like us on Facebook, and don't forget to tune in each week as we continue to build teams for the field. So sit back and relax and let's build. Well, I get the airplane anyway.
So it's a sorry state when you have to hope that an airplane shows up so you can repeat the whole sentence again.